Okay, guys. A line n passes through the points -1, 2, and 0, -2. Write the equation of n. Please remember that n is a line. So what you want is you're going to get y minus y1. This from page 18 of your notes. This formula here is known as the equation of a line. Okay. Now you need three pieces of information to work this. Okay. You need to know the point that's on the line, which is your x1 and y1. I'll choose A because both A and B are on the line, so you can choose A or B to be your x1, y1, it doesn't matter. But I'm going to choose A to be it. So it's going to be x1, y1, it's going to be x2, y2. The third piece of information you need is your slope, which is this one here. Now to get temp marks, what you do is you could try fill it in already. So you just go y1, sorry, y, take away y1, which is 2, equals m into x minus 1. Minus 1 when you use your calculator should give you +1. So happy days. Next thing you need is the slope formula. Slope formula is on page 18 of your notes, and here it is here. To get the slope between 2 points, you simply write out the equation and you put in your numbers. So y2 is -2, y1 is 2, x2 is 0, x1 is -1. Now you can enter that exactly as it looks into the calculator. You go -2, -2, and underneath you're going to have 0, -1, and you get an answer of -4. So your slope is -4. Okay. So what we're going to do next is we're going to go y minus 2 equals -4 into x. See what they did there. Into x plus 1. So I'm going to get y minus 2 equals -4x minus 4. Now, if you look at the way it wants it in this form here. So it wants the y to be on its own. So I'm going to move the -2 to the other side. I'm going to get y equals -4x. When that -2 moves over, it comes a +2. -4 plus 2 is -2. And that's going to be my answer. Happy days. Now, in question B, to show a diagram of 3x minus 4y equals 5, and the point 6 minus 3, which is located here. And this line is, what is it? It's 3x minus 4y equals 5. Okay. Find the equation of a line through K, which is perpendicular to the line L, and write your form. So once again, it wants the equation of a line. It wants y minus y1 equals m into x minus x1. Okay? It has to go through the point P. The point P is 6 minus 3. So you know a point on the line. And as you said in the previous question, you need 3 parts to answer equation of a line formula. You need to know a point on the line for your x1, y1 value, and you need an m value for your slope. So we can attempt this question for a temp mark straight away. And we can get y plus 3 equals m into x minus 6. All right, there's good attempt marks there. Now we got to work on the slope. Now, we don't know 2 points on this line. This line could go anywhere. We really don't know where it's going to go. Okay? But it's meant to hit it at 90 degrees. Okay? Now that looks roughly like 90 now. You won't be doing this by eyesight. So here's our plan. We're going to find the slope of the original line. Okay? So anytime you have a slope, let's say for example 2 over 5, a perpendicular slope is when you turn it upside down and change the sign. So that's a positive fraction. The perpendicular slope has to be negative. So you say negative fraction, turn it upside down, -5 over 2. If we had a slope of 3 over 7, what you do is you turn it upside down and you change the sign. And the perpendicular slope would be -7 over 3. if I had a slope of minus 8 over 7, I change it to a positive fraction and I turn it upside down, and that'll be perpendicular to that one. So that's how you get perpendicular slopes. Now, two ways we might go about this is we look for 2 points that are on this line. Here's one way of doing it. See this point here? It's on the black line, and this point here as well. And that's 4 across and 3 up. Rise over run. This has a slope of 3 over 4. 3 over 4 would be its slope. Therefore, its perpendicular slope should be minus 4 over 3. Now, there is another way of doing this, for those of you who didn't know that. What you could do is you could pick any 2 points on your original line. You could pick a 3, 1, and you could pick, what's that, 7, 4. And you could do the slope formula, which is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And you could put in your points, and you can get the slope of the black line very quickly, where you're going to get 4 take away 1 over 7 take away 3, and that will be 3 over 4. And as we said, turn it upside down, change the sign to get the slope of the red line. Slope of the red line being minus 4 over 3. Now we're going to finish off part 2 here. We're going to get y plus 3 equals minus 4 over 3 into x minus 6. Now, 2 ways of doing this. The 3 is division on the right. Anytime you do this equation of the line formula, this 3 is division on the right, which means when you bring it over, it becomes multiplication. 3 multiplied by y plus 3 is 3y plus 9. You're going to multiply in the minus 4 by the other part, and you get equals minus 4x plus 24. If you look at your answer, it wants everything on the left hand side, and it just wants 0 on the right hand side. So that's what you're going to have to do here. Bring everything to the left. So you're going to get 4x plus 3y, and then it's going to be 9 take away 24, which is minus 15. And that equals 0. Okay, happy days. Now we're going to move on to part C. Find the point of intersection of these 2 lines. Well, good news for us. Anytime 2 lines intersect, there's one x value and one y value. And how we solve these is by doing simultaneous equations. Okay, so we have a purple line and a blue line. What you do is you pick one letter. It can be x or y, it doesn't matter. And you choose to get rid of it. Now, I'm going to highlight this, and I'm going to highlight the minus 4y. What gets rid of a minus 4y is actually a plus 4y. Okay, so if I could change this minus y into a plus 4y, then I could make them cancel. So I can multiply this whole blue line by minus 4. And what should happen is it goes something like this. We add downwards. We get minus 5x equals minus 35. X equals, now minus 5 is multiplication on the left, makes a division on the right, and we get x equals 7. So our first value is x equals 7, because we're looking for a point of intersection. Then we grab our x equals 7 value, and we put it into either one of the original 2 equations. Doesn't matter which one. I'm going to choose h. I'm going to choose 2x minus y equals 10. I'm going to bring the 2x, sorry, 2 times x is actually 2 times 7. So it's going to be 14 minus y equals 10. And it's quite obvious that y actually has to be equal to 4, because 14 take away 4 is 10. So we'll just go with the 0.74. Okay, so that, lucky enough, is question 3 on the 2021 paper. Okay, now we're going to go to question 4 on the 2021 paper. Here it is. Okay, I might try and make it that little bit smaller. Okay, so they're going to try and do some coordinates. Well, that's 6, 2, 6 across 2 up for A. And then B is minus 2 across and minus 4 down. So minus 2, minus 4. If you aren't sure how we do it, it's sort of like you're going down until you hit it, and then you're going across, and you can see you hit the minus 2 and the minus 4. Okay, for those of you that aren't too certain about that. Now, find the coordinates of the midpoint. You could draw a line and sort of gauge it, which would be, I think it looks a bit like 2 minus 1 to me. But most people would use the midpoint formula, and they'd be correct in doing this. Okay, and you just simply call this x1, y1, x2, y2. So you're going to add 6 plus minus 2 over 2. And then the other one is 2 plus minus 4 over 2. You lob into the calculator. Press the fraction button, 6 plus minus 2 over 2. And you get 2 for the x value. And you keep going. Now you do the same thing for the y. You press the fraction button, 2 plus minus 4 all over 2. And you get minus 1. 2 minus 1. And there's actually the one I drew up there, but this is using the midpoint formula instead. Now, let's go this way. Use a compass to construct a circle C, which has AB as a diameter. No bother, because we know we have the midpoint now. Okay, so we know we have the midpoint, which is this part here. And then we can just go all the way across, like so, until it matches up. That's pretty good. And here is our circle. Right, that was pretty handy. Take the marks for that all day long. Now, find the length of the radius of the circle C and hence write down the equation of C. Equation of C means equation of a circle, which means x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared. Now, without doing much work, we know that hk is the center of the circle. And we know the center of the circle has to be 2 minus 1. Okay, so we know the center of the circle is 2 minus 1. So we can get a temp mark simply by doing x minus 2 squared plus y minus 1 would make it plus 1 squared. And the only thing we don't know currently is the radius squared. Okay, so we've already got a temp marks there, but now we need to find the radius. So to find the radius, we're going to get the distance of 2 minus 1. For argument's sake, we're going to get this distance here, because we know that that's 6, 2, and 2 minus 1. You're going to go to page 18 of your maths tables, okay, and you're going to find out the distance formula. Okay, so your distance formula is the square root of x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared. And we know that that point is 6, 2, this point here. So we're going to label them x1, y1. So we'll label this one x1, y1, and this one x2, y2. Then we're going to rely entirely on the calculator. And we're going to get 6 minus 2 squared plus 2 minus 1. So you can leave it as minus 1 if you want. It'll be 2 plus 1 in any other way you do it. Okay, so look at this. We go square root 6 minus 2 squared plus 2 minus 1 squared, and we get 5. Okay, and now that we know that the radius is 5, what we can say is that 5 squared is 25. 5 squared is 25, and that there is the equation of our circle. Question 5 is a nice easy question. See the way it says 95% of the population fall in between these two ranges here. For what we learned from the empirical rule is that that's 2 standard deviations below the mean, and that's 2 standard deviations above the mean. And the halfway point, or the average of these two values, should be your mean. So get your 147.9, add it on to your 178.7, divide the answer by 2, and your average is 163.3. And that there is your mean. Mean is 163.3. Now, get your 163.3 and take away 147.9, because 147.9 is 2 standard deviations below it. So 2 standard deviations is equal to 15.4. This means 1 standard deviation must be equal to 7.7, not 7.2, 7.7. Okay, let's continue. That was easy peasy. Now the next question is a scatter plot, and they give us a bunch of points. They say it's the following table shows data on height and arm spans of 20 teenagers. So 20 teenagers are listed. The first 12 are female and the last 8 are male. So 8 males and 12 females, or technically 8M. Okay, now what we can do next is we're asked to examine the graph. Okay, so I'm going to put this to the front, or this to the front. Okay, so it eclipses the other one. Now we're going to tick off the ones that we already think we have done here. I wonder did they do them in order. So this one looks like 130 for the arm span, or just below 130. So I think that's 129, 139. So no, that one's done. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 11, and 12. So they did all the females. Complete the scatter plot below by adding the data for the males. So they did all 1 to 12 already. Okay, so we're going to start adding in the male scores now. I'll add in the male scores using red, right? So 168 about here, and 169 for the so 168 and about 169, just below the 170 mark, somewhere in there. Done. 147, which is just below halfway point, and 150 will be here. Done. 134 and 121. So that's 135, that's 125, and this is 120. So 121 and 134. 134 is about here, and 121 is like down the bottom, just this red part here. Okay, 177 and 176. So 177 is about here, 176 is about here. Done. 172 around here, and 176. Sorry, was it 172? Sorry, 172 and 170. 170 is there, so around here. Okay, 160 and 163, so 160 and 163 in around here. And then 152 and 150, so 152 and 151 around here. And finally 153 and 151. 53 and 151 around there as well, right? So we can see that there is positive correlation here. If you draw a line going through the middle, there is a bit of positive correlation going on there, okay? So it's not negative correlation. It's 0.2 would be no correlation. So the answer here is 0.9. There is correlation going on in this question. Okay. Now, next part. Explain what the correlation coefficient tells us about the relationship between height and arm span. Generally speaking, the taller you are, the longer your arm. So it tells us, see, it's the correlation coefficient. So it tells us there's a strong relationship, that there is a strong relationship between height and arm span. Okay, happy days. Okay. Now, question 7. Hopefully, hopefully getting to the end of this. I have to do 7 and 8, yeah. All right, we're going to draw a histogram. Right, so 24, 27, and 16 and 8. Okay, happy days. So let's do this. 24. See these lines here? That means it goes all the way back to 0. But we don't have it written like that. It only goes back to 10, but it does go all the way back to 0. That's what that line's about. Okay. So we have the question is basically age profiles of people in Ireland aged between 15 and 65 who subscribe to online streaming platform. So basically 8% of their customers are 55 to 65, 27% of their customers are aged 25 to 35. Now, this means above 25 and below 35. And this means above 35 and below 45. All right. So here's what we're going to be looking at. All right, so let's make our histogram. And our first one is 15 to 25, and it's 24. 15 to 25, and it's 24. So that's this one here. Okay. Then we have 27 from 25 to 35. 27 be here. That's that one. And then we have 35 to 45 is 25. Okay. And then we have 16. And then we also have 8. Okay. So that's all of them. In a survey of 1,000 subscribers aged between 15 and 65, how many people would you expect to be between 25 and 55 years? So 25 to 55. 25, that's 27, another 25, and another 16%. So that's 27 plus 25 plus 16. That's basically 68% of the population. So 68% multiplied by 1,000. So you do your 1,000 and you multiply it with 68%. And you get your 680 or 680 people. Okay, happy days. Let's move on. Use the table or the histogram to write down the age that contains the median age. The median. Okay, so there's 1,000 people. Okay, and out of the 1,000 people, there should be a middle two because it's an even number. So that'd be 500 and 501 are the middle two people in this group. Now, if I go back, I turn all of this into numbers. That'd be 240 people. That'd be 270 people. That'd be 250 people. That'd be 160 people, and that'd be 80 people, because it's like 8% of 1,000 people. Okay. Now, if you add the two of these together, the 240 and the 270, you get 510. So the first 510 people are located in these two regions. But it's safe to say that 500 and 501 are located from 25 to 35. Okay, that's going to be the 25 to 35 bracket. Use mid-interval values of the groups to estimate the mean age. Okay, so we're going to have to do the mean age using mid-interval values. Okay, so once again, I'm feeling inclined to use my numbers rather than my percentages. Okay, so I'm actually doing it more like this, because that's how many people I know there is. Okay, so I'm going to grab this table now and move it to the page with the mid-interval values. Okay, and here's what's going to happen. All right, so mid-interval means middle of the interval, the middle of 25 and 15. Add them together and divide by 2. You get 20. Add them together, divide by 2, you get 30, 40, you get 50, and you get 60. Okay, now we're going to do the hard part, which is adding them all up together. 20 times 240, 4,800. 30 times 270, 8,100. 40 times 250, 10,000. 50 times 160, 8,000. And 50 times 160 is another 8,000. Wait. I already did that. 60 times 80. All divided by 1,000. So I'm going to grab this, my 4,800 plus my 8,100 plus my 10,000 plus my 8,000 plus my 4,800 divided by 1,000, add it all together, 35,700 divided by 1,000, and I'm hoping the average is 25.7. 0.7 years. Okay, that's the mid-interval value. Now, prior to COVID-19 pandemic, Netflix had the largest share of online streaming market with 65% of all streaming in the 15 to 65 age group. Hayden thought that this percentage might have changed during the pandemic and surveyed a sample of subscribers to get the data. He then carried out a hypothesis test to test a series. If 450 people respond to a survey, calculate the margin of error. Give your answer as percentage. So 1 over root n is the margin of error. 1 over the square root of 540 people. So 1 divided by the square root of 540. And that gives you 0.043. Now that's in decimal mode, so we're going to multiply that by 100. And we're going to turn that into 4.3%. 4.3%. Okay, so that much. Now, his survey revealed that 372, so that's 372 out of the 540 that he interviewed. So what percentage of people is that? We're supposed to say they now have a Netflix account. So we're going to get our, what's our 372 divided by our 540. We're going to multiply that by 100 to turn it into a percentage. And we get 60, ooh, 68.9%. 68.9% of people now have a Netflix account. Okay. Now, because there's an error in this survey, an error of 4.3%, what we can then say is that 68.9 minus 4.3, which is 64. So 64.6% is less than P, and that in turn is less than your 68.9 plus 4.3. You have to add and take away the margin of error, and you get 73.2. And that is our 95% confidence interval for the percentage of the population watching Netflix. Use your part B, part 2 to conduct a hypothesis test on whether at the 5% level of significance, that means at the 95% confidence interval, clearly state your null hypothesis. Null hypothesis. Okay? Percentage of people who have Netflix is, what percentage are they claiming again? I think they're claiming 65%. So we want to see that it's still the same. And the alternative hypothesis is percentage of people who have Netflix is not 65%. Now, is 65% in this confidence interval? Yes, it is. So here's what we're going to say. Because 65% is in the range of the 95% confidence interval, we accept, or we fail to, or you accept the null hypothesis. We fail to reject the null hypothesis. So the statistic that 65% of people with a Netflix account could still be true. Okay, that's it, guys. I am going to save this now, I hope.